Normally we'd be having this meeting and we'd probably be grabbing a cup of coffee or tea and getting ready to settle in. You can tell I'm here at grounds doing the same, even though we're out on the town. We're not quite ready to meet in person at this scale, but we're really excited to share some information as we look back at our year 2020 and what's coming for 2021. I'll open this quick meeting with an intro from our mayor, Mayor Mike Caldwell. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Good morning, Ogden. It's Mayor Caldwell here. I just wanted to take a few moments as you start your meeting today to talk about what has transpired over the past year. This has been exceptional for all of us. All the local businesses and the challenges we've seen there, down to parents trying to teach their kids at home, kids trying to take Zoom meetings, everything else. You've been exceptional in your patience and your flexibility as we work through this. The good news is there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're all seeing and hearing that. Our case counts are very far down. We're all doing the right things because we've come together as a community, and we cannot thank you enough for that. A little more patience as we get through this, and I think summer will bring about a lot of the regular things that we've loved about being in Ogden. Those downtown businesses need everyone's help right now. They have been so gritty and so committed to doing everything that they can to get us through this. Please continue to shop local, to support your local businesses, to take care of your neighbors and your families. We have great reasons to be optimistic right now. We live in a wonderful place, and we have done amazing things throughout this entire pandemic and this COVID experience. Collectively, we're all stronger together. And let's continue to do that. Thank you all for everything that you're doing to make Ogden so great.
Thanks, Mayor. As you all know, it's been a crazy year, and looking back, we've been super busy here at the Ogden Downtown Alliance. Whether creating a curbside dining program with temporary parking, signage, a website to find everyone that was open and how to shop and support local, launching a facade improvement grant, early benefits of which you can see here in front at the Windsor with brand new windows, training and advising on SBA and Paycheck protection programs, and just helping our businesses stay afloat through all of this. It's been a tumultuous and busy and hectic time, which we all know that you guys can respect and understand. We're really excited to share our annual report this year, available on our website at ogdendowntown.com. We encourage you to take a look and get more invested, get more involved, learn more about ODA. Read up on all of our projects in every category, whether it's events programming, communication, marketing, placemaking, arts programming, and coordination with community and economic development. That's the Make Ogden plan. Pretty much everything that's happening in downtown these days is dedicated to seeing that project through. A little bit more on that, I've asked Sara and Brandon from Ogden City's Community and Economic Development Department to share with us not only what they did to support funding and processes throughout the pandemic, but also some of those exciting new things that are happening and changing downtown due to and involved with the Make Ogden plan.
Hi everyone, I'm Sara Meess with Ogden City Business Development. I wanted to start just by saying thank you to the Ogden Downtown Alliance for all the incredible work they've done to support our downtown over this last year. And also a big thank you to the downtown businesses that really are the heart of our community and that are working so hard to manage and adapt to the impacts of COVID-19. So for today, ODA asked us to share some information about business resources for COVID-19. So we'll jump right into that. So I'll start just with a quick report out on the Ogden Cares grant program, which ran from July through December of 2020. Ogden City, like a lot of other municipalities, received federal funding from the CARES Act. The city chose to allocate a pretty significant portion of its CARES funds to the Ogden Cares grant program. And Ogden Cares helped to fund necessary operating expenses for businesses and nonprofits that had been negatively impacted by COVID-19. Weber County also provided a portion of its CARES funds to help support this program, and their partnership allowed us to expand the reach of our program really significantly. So we're very, very appreciative of their partnership. The Ogden Cares program is now closed, but there are other resources that are still available, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. So in total, Ogden Cares provided nearly $11.3 million in grants. 57% of the funding went to businesses in Ogden, and the remaining 43% went to nonprofits in both Ogden and in Weber County. The Ogden Cares program funded 193 grant awards to businesses and an additional 58 grant awards that went to nonprofits. The grant awards really ranged in size, just depending on business need, but the average award to businesses was about $33,000. So we were very grateful to receive these federal funds and to have such strong support from the state and the county, which allowed us to stand up this grant program and provide funds that were really needed here in our community. We haven't received any additional funding for this type of program at this point, but we are tracking federal legislation so that we'll be ready to respond in case more funding of this type becomes available. So we'll move next to talk a little bit about the programs that are still available to support businesses today. A number of federal programs were created or expanded by the most recent relief package. And I would just encourage everyone to review the webinar that's linked at the top here. This is a really great resource. The SBA's Utah office put on this webinar about 2 weeks ago, and it provides a really great in-depth review of all of the programs that are listed below here. We'll just do kind of a high-level overview of these for today, but if anybody wants additional information, that webinar is a great place to start. So first up is the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP. This is a forgivable loan program, and it's available to first-time borrowers as well as certain qualifying businesses that received PPP funds last year that have a need for additional funding now. For this program, you would apply through a participating bank or lender. And if you need any assistance finding a lender, you can let our office know. We're happy to help with that. The SBA also has this online lender match tool that you can use to get connected with SBA approved lenders. This program is going to be open through the end of March, but we would definitely encourage folks to apply as soon as they can, just to make sure your application gets in while funds are still available for this program. Next, we have the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or the EIDL. These are actually direct loans from the SBA, and they're not forgivable like the PPP, but they do offer a low interest rate and deferred payments for the first year. Related to that are the targeted EIDL advances. You've likely heard about these. Last year, SBA was providing grants of up to $10,000 that would not have to be repaid. And they're kind of extending that program now. Basically, to qualify, an entity has to be in a low-income community, and they have to have applied for the advance last year and received less than the full $10,000. So if that describes your situation, you actually don't need to take any action at this point. The SBA is doing some work on their end to figure out who's eligible for the additional advances, and then they'll reach out to you directly. And then finally, we have a new program that was established by the most recent relief package. This is the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant, more commonly known as the Save Our Stages program. And this program provides grants from the SBA for live venues, performing arts organizations, museums, and others. With this one, there are some restrictions on what other funding can be combined with this grant. So for that, we would, again, just encourage you to check out the webinar. It's got some great information on eligibility, and the SBA's website does as well. They've got a nice matrix that shows what COVID assistance can be used in combination with this Shuttered Venue grant and what can't. So next we'll move on to some of the programs that are available from the city. Although we're no longer offering grants, the city's business loan programs are still available. These programs are managed by my colleague Sara Stofers and her team over at Ogden City's Business Information Center, or the BIC. The loan programs are meant to help businesses in Ogden to stabilize and grow. And these can be a good option for businesses that can't obtain financing from other sources. So if you'd like more information about that, you're welcome to reach out to us directly. You can also find more information on the BIC's website at ogdenbic.com. And we're also working on an online application for the city's loan programs that's coming soon that should help streamline that process. The BIC team has also recently developed a new business startup training program that's going to be available soon. And it's not training that's offered by the BIC, but instead it provides some financial support for businesses to go and get training from approved providers. So the program will be set up to reimburse eligible businesses for their tuition costs once they've completed a training program with the city approved provider. To qualify for this particular program, the business must have 5 or fewer employees, including the owner, and the owner must be low or moderate income. We'll have an application for this program as well, and the city will need to approve the application before the business starts the actual training program. But we're pretty excited about this program as a way to provide some additional training to those who are looking to start a business, as well as those that are looking to adapt or pivot their business in response to COVID-19. So that should be a good new resource. And then just to wrap up with some additional resources listed here, our business development team is here to help with any questions or assistance that you all might need. We definitely encourage you to reach out to us with any questions that you have. And then we'd also invite everyone to sign up for our newsletter at the link here. That's where we'll be sharing out all of the latest information about business support programs and resources as they become available. A few other resources here. SBA's website has a great review of all the federal programs that are available for businesses. The state of Utah, on their coronavirus website, they have a great section on business resources, both on the financing side as well as resources to comply with all the health and safety requirements. And then, of course, the Weber Morgan Health Department has some great local information and guidance as well. So Brandon's going to be talking a little bit later about some of our plans for the future of downtown Ogden. And as we envision the future of downtown Ogden, it's really critical that local businesses are able to survive COVID and thrive in our new normal. Downtown Ogden really is the heart of our community, thanks to the efforts of so many of the business owners here. So we really want to help you succeed and encourage you to let us know if we can offer any assistance. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sarah, for all of your hard work. And we are doing some amazing and exciting things in the city. So it's my pleasure to talk about some of those now. My name is Brandon Cooper. I am the Deputy Director for Economic Development in Ogden City. I've been privileged to be doing this for about 14 years now. And I was part of the team that spearheaded the Make Ogden plan. And that's really the visioning plan that we have for the next 25 years within Ogden City. And so I'd like to talk about that a little bit now and explain to you what the plan is and what it does, and hopefully what some of the outcomes of it will be. We started with the question of how do we take what we have and make it better, essentially. We have some unique downtown assets. We have some historical assets, some natural amenities, and we asked ourselves, how do we take advantage of those amenities and increase our value and increase the contributions of those amenities and make life better in Ogden without changing the nature of Ogden and creating something that we aren't. So we engaged in an 18-month-long plan to really answer that question. The city is organized in various forms of planning documents. It all starts with our general plan that was adopted in 2002. And from that, there's about 18 community plans that have been identified. And those community plans address individual parts of the city geographically. And our central business district, or our downtown, has had its own community plan for quite some time, but it hadn't been really revised or updated in a major way. And we felt like that the development of Ogden and the interest that the development community and the owners that were in Ogden, their vision didn't quite match the vision that we had for the city over the next 20 years. And so we felt like that our regulatory documents needed some updating, and that's what we set out to do. We hired Design Workshop. They were key in the revitalization of the downtown of Denver, along with their train yard and their Union Station building. And if you've been to Denver, you know that that's now an amazing place. There's a lot to learn from that process and from that plan, but we do not want to be Denver, of course. And I think that's inherent in what we're seeing in this plan. We've taken some of the best practices that are out there, and we've implemented them into our planning efforts, but we want to be uniquely Ogden. And really the whole purpose is to leverage the assets that are unique to Ogden. So we looked at 6 project tenants that would guide us in our 18-month process. And as you see here, those are land use and what's the highest and best land use. What are the historical assets that we have, and how do we enhance them, connect them, and leverage them to be unique and vibrant? What's the mobility component across all of those assets? How do we flow from one part of the downtown to another? How do we do that safely? How is it evident that we do that? What are the connection points? And how do we make that mundane element of our daily life more unique and more exciting? And so we looked a lot into the mobility component. Open spaces in urban areas and downtowns is critical. It cannot be just a concrete jungle. So the open space tenant was really an important one to ensure that we maintain that environment that's so important to all of us. Equity, we wanted to make sure that we had some social components, not just some hard and fast planning elements, but we looked at how do we create opportunity? How do we make that opportunity accessible to as many people as possible? How do we create and enhance our diverse community? We have one of the most diverse communities in the state, and we wanted to make sure we perpetuate that diversity on all levels. And then, of course, branding. The Make Ogden concept is in and of itself a brand. It represents the planning efforts that we have done, but it also we hope to have it be the kind of the ensign of all of the unique and cool things that are happening in the city over the next 20 years. So the idea is that when you see the Make Ogden brand, you know that whatever is behind that brand, whether it's a development site or a program or an initiative, that you can feel trust in that brand, and that you can feel that whatever is happening has gone through this plan, that it's gone through a high level of organization and vetting, and that it has a significant amount of community feedback behind it. This slide just represents some of the folks that participated in the plan. Again, we had a bunch of third-party people and planning people, but we had a community engagement plan and a number of key stakeholders that really drove this process. It was their ideas, it was the feedback that we got from the community that shaped the thinking of the city folks and our consultants. So this really is at its core a community plan, and was driven by so many of the voices that are in the community. And again, this is just kind of the process that we went through to get to where we are now. We've actually adopted the plan. That was in September of last year, and we're into our implementation phase. Here's some representation of that outreach and that stakeholder involvement that I just mentioned. This is some meetings that we had in Denver with the consultant. Here's some other meetings and a picture of our farmers market engagement. Most of these are stakeholders. We had a community open house that allowed people to come and provide feedback to the progress that we were making. And then we also had a survey that was open from December through February of 19 and 20. And we had that in English and Spanish. And I think the respondents at a little over 1,000 is a good sign of our success there. And we learned a lot in terms of our assets and challenges and priorities. And some of those questions were related to our assets in the downtown, and people were able to show us what they thought were important assets that should be enhanced and leveraged. How do we maintain our historic structures? Where are they? Where are the hubs that people are gathering to and really engaging with? And then what are the areas that need improvement or are challenged or need some additional attention? You can see that a lot of those same areas are consistent with the areas that we think are wonderful and are working well. So it focuses everything largely around the 25th Street area, the Union Station area, and the blocks north and south of 25th Street in terms of some of the answers that we got from these questions. Where is a high level of vacancy in terms of building frontages and lots, empty lots? We asked some of those questions. We also asked how we can prioritize our public investment. Those are two real critical points, one of two critical points, public investment and private investment. And so this question asked, how do we prioritize our public investment? And as you can see, that really guided us to the Union Station, to the Marshall White Center, to the library, and to the 25th Street area. The red is essentially the heat map of all the other comments that we received, but the green shows kind of where those comments were collected and where they kind of piled up on each other. The other question, again, as I mentioned, how do we engage private investment? Same kind of areas, again, coagulating around the important parts of our downtown 25th Street, Union Station, the Wonder Block lot, those kind of things. And so again, back to our question, how do we leverage our assets and how do we increase the value of our land and contribute to the health of Ogden? The plan is really inherent with economic principles and values. And we wanted to make sure that this wasn't just a planning document that showed where buildings could go and what land uses are, but it did have that economic component that allowed us to analyze the growth of the city in terms of how it collects its revenues versus the expense of the city, which is reflected in how we serve the community with those revenues. We wanted to make sure that our land use policies would allow us to collect enough money to then reflect back to the community quality services and a quality life and a sense of place. Measuring that is important, and in the plan we decided to use smart growth and community equity metrics. And these two things really give us an idea of what we should measure, what the measurables are, and how we compete on a national level with other cities across the country who use these metrics as well. And we feel there's a ton of benefit from not only implementing these types of metrics, but measuring them. Overall, in general, cities see things like 38% savings on infrastructure when they utilize the smart growth and community equity metrics. So this is baked into the plan, and this is how we're going to track our progress over the next 25 years as the plan emerges. The entire approach, again, is really set up on this episodic approach to growth, using smart growth principles, applying the project tenets, those 6 tenets that I mentioned, and making sure that each episode is springboarding from the episode prior to it. And so you can see that the episodes are in 5-year increments over the next 25 years. There's 4 of them. And in each one, we've identified a number of projects that we feel like will be key to that episode in making sure that the growth is manageable that the land use is appropriate. We're maintaining our historical assets. We're building in equity, all of the things that are key to the foundation of the plan. So really this slide represents how we're going to accomplish the goal of making sure that our land use and our growth really does meet the needs of the city from a revenue side. The blue here is representative of our downtown locations that have different types of ownership. And so as we look at the different colors, you can see that there's a large bulk of our downtown that is tax exempt, meaning that these parcels do not generate any tax to the city to pay for the services that they consume, which means that someone has to pay for the cost of those services, which generally means that other folks in the city, both commercially and residentially, are subsidizing that. So one of the main focuses of the plan is to make sure that we're utilizing these properties in a tax productive way, that we're identifying them and we're looking to redevelop them or to redevelop areas around them to increase the value so that we can decrease the tax rate because we have more properties to spread that tax across. So on to episode 1, what are the emerging projects? I won't get into this in detail, but I can show you that, again, everything is really related around 25th Street. So in the back here, we have, at the top of the picture, we have Union Station and 25th Street as it flows through the middle of the picture here. The main project we're looking to accomplish in episode 1, which is the next 5 years, is the Wonder Block project. You might know that as the Continental Bakery, or you might know it as an empty lot, but we call it Wonder Block. It's the lot just to the west of the municipal gardens, and it's about a 5-acre parcel. It backs up to the backside of historical 25th Street, and it's really a great opportunity for us to build density, to bring in housing, to bring in office, to bring in hospitality, and to bring in amenities for people who are visiting 25th Street and who are living in the area or working in the area. There are some other projects that we're anticipating in episode 1, the 100 block of 25th Street on the north end. Ogden City partnered with a development group called Outlier and Powder Development, and that has been made public now. Common Living is a national group who focuses on remote learning hubs, and so they put an RFP out to the country and selected 5 communities that they would like to drive the remote work hub initiative in, and Ogden City was selected. And so that project now looks like to be on the fast track as well as part of episode 1. There's other key improvements that we would like to make from a public investment standpoint. We talked a lot about mobility and implementing connections. So the plan in episode 1 will look at 26th Street and improving that road as a somewhat major road. That project has been approved and will be underway shortly in conjunction with the Wonder Block project. Kiesel Avenue is a great opportunity to connect 25th Street to the junction. Also, there's a number of mid-block crossings that could be helpful in circulating people, along with the extension of the Grant Avenue Promenade. That's been a successful public investment project that's really beautiful and creates a lot of mobility. The BRT line certainly will be an enhancement to the area that will bring a dedicated bus route through the area that then would connect to our trolley bus as well. And so if you factor in being able to navigate the city in a car, a bicycle, on a scooter, we have the Lime scooters, micro mobility. We're bringing in the BRT, the trolley, and then all of these other connections. I think accessing the downtown in a safe and comfortable way is going to be much enhanced over the next few years. So here's the outcomes of episode 1 that we're hoping for. As we look at all of these projects, there's more that I haven't talked about, but as we go through the next 5 years or so, we're hoping to bring in 900 housing units. over 1,680 new jobs in the new buildings and the new spaces that we create. We're hoping to bring in even more hospitality rooms, so a couple of new hotels, retail service. I know retail and hospitality now are major victims of COVID, but our analysis shows that that won't always be the case and that those things will return in force, but potentially in different ways. We're looking at doing some enhancements to the civic and cultural aspects of the Union Station and other locations. And then certainly parking to accommodate all of these things is going to be critical. And we'll look to build 1,600 spaces there. So for the sake of time, I won't go through all of the episodes, but we do have an evolution now that the plan has been passed by the City Council and the Planning Commission. So we are now going through all of our episodic priorities. We're testing those against our smart growth and community equity goals. And we're just about ready to launch into the revision to our downtown development guidelines and some of our codes so that we make sure that the playbook that developers and property owners and other investors reflects the goals of the plan. So that is our Make Ogden plan. I know that is a whirlwind of things to talk about and to think about, but it really does set us up for a new generation of what's going to happen in Ogden. We're very excited about the potential we have, and we do believe that we can evolve and grow, and we can do that in a smart way while still maintaining our identity and the unique assets that makes Ogden such a wonderful place to live. Community engagement to this plan and feedback constantly is always important to us. So we're in the process of implementing a couple of things that allows community members to provide comments, ask questions, and also to receive feedback. First and foremost is makeogden.com. Right now that has stalled out because of some COVID things, but we're looking to enhance that website that would really make it interactive and relevant so that we can update projects on an ongoing basis, and you can go there at any time to find detailed information about the ongoing projects. So look to makeogden.com in the future to find more information. The Make Ogden Instagram and Facebook pages are live and thus far have received more interaction than our website has. So go there for updates, subscribe to those channels. We also will be looking to do some additional surveys in the future. Our city website, our city council website, and the Facebook pages there as well will give you some more information. So we look to have a robust dialogue in the community as these projects happen, and we hope that you will engage in the future. My name again is Brandon, and you can call me anytime at 801-629-8947 or email me at brandoncooper@ogdencity.com. Thank you.
One of the things we've been really focused on over this past year at the Downtown Alliance is making our work more transparent, more accessible. I think we do a great job of communicating with our business owners, but the average resident doesn't know all of the ways that we impact things downtown. You might have noticed we took over our own Instagram account this past year, sharing slides and projects from everything that we do that answers back to our mission statement. It's one of the small ways, but big impact pieces of how we're asking you to be more involved and more aware of the work that we're doing. We're calling this Get to Know ODA. One of the big questions that we have right now is what's coming next? While we've still had to delay plenty of things because of current restrictions and guidelines, we are really, really excited to double down on a lot of the other programs that we do. For instance, Farmers Market Ogden will be all 3 blocks of historic 25th Street this year, welcoming back all categories of vendors, including food services. That market also starts 4 weeks earlier than it ever has this year, and will launch on May 22nd, a record set for our agriculture availability, and also starting at 8 a.m. and going until 1 p.m. That event is hugely supportive of our businesses downtown and also of our residents and vendors who are not ready for brick and mortar but are emerging. We're really, really excited to get back to things as usual, as they'd say. For now, we're still wearing masks, still supporting local, still doing all the things that we can to keep our businesses and our community safe but we're so excited to welcome you back into the downtown and to host you here. And together, getting to know ODA a little bit more and a little bit bigger. Thank you so much for the time and energy and love and dedication that you put into this community. If you're not already, really encourage you to get involved in our organization, whether that's following us on Instagram, joining our email subscription, or just showing up at an event and asking for ways that you can get involved. It's a community that makes us great. It's the community that makes us Ogden, and we look forward to serving you even more this coming year. Thank you.